Welcome, listeners, to the Dugarelli podcast. This is Anna, your host. And I want to thank you for joining us today with a special episode. If you listen closely, you may be able to hear the sounds of the waves as they reach the sea, the beach, the shoreline. I would like for us to sit here for a moment to envision, because many of us, including myself, cannot do this at this very moment. But imagine that we are. And let's also imagine that if we go back in history, Calabria, the region from which we're located, was colonized by the ancient Greeks. So imagine that water reaching the shore, and as they were getting out of their boats, they would hear the very sounds that we're listening to right now. And with this, dear friends, I want to express to you the 6 Greek words for love. As you know, February is the month of affection and love. St. Valentine's Day is celebrated on the 14th of February, and many people throughout the world do celebrate Valentine's Day. So let's use that theme today. We know the ancient Greeks thought a little deeper about things and knew a little better. There were several different kinds of words that they had for love. I will address 6 in particular today, which ultimately all culminated in its highest form of love, which they referred to as agape. Eros, which is erotic love, sexual passion or desire, is a physical attraction between 2 people, and it's very often experienced at the beginning of a relationship. And the Greeks did not always view this as something positive. Some people do tend to now, but it was considered fiery, potentially dangerous, and an irrational form of love that could actually take hold and possess you as a person. It was also associated with loss of control, highlighting that a relationship with Eros was based on pure lust, and that pure lust never lasts long and could even become over time quite destructive. Philia, instead, is concerned with friendship, brotherhood, sisterhood, or a sense of camaraderie with colleagues. And this deep friendship that develops between 2 people over time. It shows your loyalty to friends, you're sacrificing for them as well, having the connection to share deep, intimate feelings or emotions with them. This is a far cry from accumulating so many followers on social media, but it's about keeping exclusivity, a small circle of friends, and connecting with them on a much more personal level, and also strengthening your relationship with them and that connection over lengths of time. Ludus, instead, is playful love. It's the kind of love often experienced between kids, and playful flirting or teasing. It's not a serious form of love, and it's very lighthearted, and it often seems manifesting in early crush stages of a relationship. Perhaps when you were to dance with a stranger for the first time, or lighthearted and playful speaking in social settings. Pragma, instead, is a long-standing love. It's mature love, realistic, and also found in long-established couples. It doesn't concern itself in the falling into love, but more about standing in love, being firm in love, making compromises to help relationships work over time, to be patient and tolerant. Pragma is what we want in order to make our relationships last. Now, the love of self. philotia. It was identified by Aristotle as being potentially good and bad. On the one hand, it can be associated with narcissism and becoming so obsessed that you can become concerned only with satisfying your very needs, while the healthier form is an expanded capacity to love, concerned with being secure enough in yourself to express and to accept love. This idea is that if you like yourself and feel secure in yourself, then you will have plenty of love to give to others. It's nearly impossible to love another person without loving yourself and having an appreciation for one's self. You can't assume responsibility for caring for others without appreciation of your own strengths and weaknesses. This is a very fine line, which today in culture seems to lean toward a self-obsession and satisfying one's needs, as well as Western culture places a greater emphasis on the role of the individual. But the most radical and associated with selfless love is agape. Agape is intended for all people and all things, whether family, strangers, near and distant, even enemies. It is a universal love, a kindness that is grounded in empathy. Without agape, one cannot form resilient relationships. Agape is the sacrificial nature of love. It is grounded in humility. It is charitable, and it calls on you to sacrifice your own interests for the sake of others. This seems to contrast with our typical focus on a single romantic relationship, where we hope that we find all the different types of love wrapped up into a single person or a soulmate. But for love to last, it would need to progress, where it increasingly becomes not about a single emotion, but rather an intentional act of will. Love becomes a way of life, a commitment to practicing the virtues embedded in love itself. Love is ever so powerful in today's world, and we need each to take responsibility to share it with ourselves and with others in the now and for generations to come. So thank you, listeners, for being and staying tuned to the Ducarelli podcast. I hope that you put a like and follow our podcast, as our goal is to empower each and every one of you through your listening of our episodes daily.